There are set points when it comes to entertainment. These are particular points in our history when something came in and shifted the way we look at various forms of entertainment. Eminem proved that rap music can be a form of art that can be used to express oneself. Lil Wayne proved that music could be melodic and doesn't need to be about the hard-hitting verses. The Last of Us proved that gaming could be much more than just graphics and mechanics. It can be a source of telling a compelling and emotional story with well thought out and fleshed out characters. And Avatar: The Last Airbender proved that cartoons are not just things you turn on for your kids so they can leave you alone. They are an outlet for far greater things. Avatar as a series is one of, if not the most recognizable cartoon to ever exist. The names Aang, Zuko, Toph, Katara, the other guy. These are names that can make even a grown man feel something. It is the most brilliant piece of entertainment to have ever existed, having some of the best episodes in animation history. Zuko alone, The Blind Bandit, The Boy in the Iceberg, and its locus classicus, The Tales of Ba Sing Se. In the early 2000s, Aaron Hayash watched the 3 Hours of Horror episodes of The Simpsons. He thought it would be interesting to do the same thing for Avatar: The Last Airbender, an episode that was composed of several shorter stories, each focusing on different characters from the show. So after bringing in Ethan Spalding and Giancarlo Volpe, I may have just butchered those names, who were prominent writers and directors for the show alongside several other writers, they came together and created the masterpiece, Tales of Ba Sing Se. The idea of the strong female character was and will always be a trope that annoys me. You take characters with potential to become significant role models and heroes and turn them into this black hole of emotionless nothing. This may be a personal preference, but I hate this kind of a strong female character. Bland, one dimension, void of any emotion whatsoever. It's annoying, just degrading. They set out to create characters that can be role models for young girls, but instead end up writing characters that just come out as pretentious and annoying. Avatar never made this mistake with any of their characters, cause they followed one simple rule.
I am a warrior, but I'm a girl too.
Most of these people are so focused on the warrior that they forget about the girl. Avatar: The Last Airbender is the blueprint to writing an outstanding strong female character. They perfected it. Toph, Katara, and practically any female character in Avatar: The Last Airbender is what a proper strong female character should be. This is a show that made you feel bad for Azula. Azula is not scared of showing the deep scars that characters have. No matter how powerful anyone is, they have feelings. Toph on the surface should be a complete exception to this, right? She is rude, unhygienic, strong-headed. On the surface, she is your average strong female character, and initially you would expect her to stay this way. But quite literally 8 episodes after The Blind Bandits, we truly got to see Toph as way more fragile than we have ever thought. We open up to Aang, Katara, Momo and the other guy getting ready to go on their own adventures. Katara comes to check up on Toph and she wasn't ready for the day. She then decides to take her on a spa day. They get pedicures, get makeup and got to have a nice time together, which was refreshing to see as the two characters never really saw eye to eye since Toph joined the group. Toph and Katara then gets into it with this group of girls who call Toph ugly. She then drops them in water as Katara washes them away. We then get to see Toph properly opening up for the first time ever.
It's okay. One of the good things about being blind is that I don't have to waste my time worrying about appearances. I don't care what I look like.
But she does. It's only human. We lie to make ourselves feel better. Many of us shit, even I do it sometimes. I don't care about the way I look or how people perceive me, but somehow, somewhere inside our hearts, we care, even though it's ever so slightly. The way Avatar treated Toph's blindness will and always be something I will praise massively until my dying breath. Toph has already come to terms with her blindness and the show never really brought attention to it. Well, they did, but it was always in a comedic effect. But ever so slightly sometimes you feel that Toph also wishes she could see. And this scene was one of those times. I have to give some props to Jessie Flower for the delivery on the line.
I'm not looking for anyone's approval. I know who I am.
Not showing a lot of emotion, but showing just enough to pass the point across. The tale of Toph and Katara was the first time we truly get to understand the mentality and mindset of Toph as a character. Even Katara, who usually annoys me, was surprisingly tolerable in this episode. There is no Bonnie without Clyde. There is no Drake without Josh. There is no Chelsea without Rich James. No, seriously dude, please stop getting injured. And there is no Aang without Appa. The relationship between Appa and Aang has been one of the driving forces of the entire show. They are two characters that are intertwined with each other forever. Neither can barely cope without the other. I mean, they were stuck in an iceberg for 100 years. I don't think it gets any closer than that. Aang continues his search for Appa at the zoo, where he comes across a zookeeper who is having a tough time keeping his zoo open. So he helps open up a new one outside the walls of Ba Sing Se. This episode looks like it should be the most boring one, but it was nice taking some time with Aang and doing Avatar stuff, you know. Even though he can't be happy, there is nothing that stops him from making others happy. There is no one that explores the idea of trust as much as Zuko. There are literally 3 episodes exploring this concept in season 3 alone. But as much as a lot of people like to talk about how we had to regain the trust of Team Avatar and his uncle, not a lot of people like to talk about Zuko's trust in himself, and this tale completely explores that. The episode starts off with Zuko 17 in Uncle Iroh's tea shop, where this absolute baddie asks him out. He was reluctant but went anyways. They had an awkward start, but it started to go a bit better. Well, until...
I have something for you too. Now it's your turn to close your eyes. What's wrong?
It's complicated.
This moment was when I realized something about Zuko. He doesn't trust himself. At this point in the series, he can barely hold his own. He's too emotional, too brash. He already has his demons. The last thing he would probably need in his life right now is another human being to be worried about. As much as I am disappointed that he turned her down, trust me, I really am. I get it. Not everyone has the capacity to cater to others' feelings when they can't even keep theirs in check. When he dates Mai, he was in a more guaranteed state of mind, and he also really loved her, unlike this chick who just randomly appeared out of nowhere. He had known Mai for years, which means he can trust her, and even better, trust himself with her. Momo starts off by having a dream about Appa. He then sees the fall of Appa on his body and he goes off to search for his friend. He got chased by a bunch of wildcats at probably one of the funniest moments in the entire show. He then gets captured but he escapes. We then get to the point where he has to make a decision. Go off and find his friend or lend a helping hand in saving even his enemies, and he chooses to help the things that have been trying to kill him. I mean, there are countless things about Avatar that I love, but the one thing that I never see being talked about enough is the way the animal companions are portrayed. They make them feel human, weirdly. Appa and Momo are friends. Really good friends. Their relationship throughout the entirety of the series just kept getting better and better as time went on. I mean, you never understood them, but you always understood them. Weirdly enough. They are just simply some moments when you see the two of them interacting and you know exactly what they are talking about, and it's always so beautiful to watch. Momo is a character that usually gets undermined when it comes to conversation of characters in the show, so it was nice seeing him have his own little adventure for once. Him just trying his best to find his friend and having some closure that it won't be long until they find each other again. As much as Appa and Aang love each other, the next person closest to Appa is Momo. This show has always had certain roles that people had to fill. Aang is the chosen one, Katara is the responsible one, Toph is the reckless one, Zuko is the broody one, Uncle Iroh is the wise one, and this guy, I guess, is the funny one. Him as a character has always been hard for me. The things he does are things that other characters in the show can't do, and better even. So in retrospect, he's useless, and him not being in the show would be better, right? Right? No. See, that's why I like him. He isn't the fanciest bender, the smartest in the group. The only thing he has going for him is his sarcasm, and that's a trait almost everyone in the show has, but the show wouldn't feel the same without him, and this story is literally showing off that. You see the other stories, Toph coming to terms with herself, Aang doing the most to help people, Momo missing Appa, Zuko trying his best to open up to more people, and then this guy was just citing poems with a group of girls. Sounds about useless, right? Right? No. This is why I love him. It's the fact that 80% of the things he does doesn't have to exist, but they do anyways because he's just him. He's that guy. I would have rioted if they skipped his story.
Poetry.
Uncle Iroh is a very simple man. He loves tea, loves Zuko, and yeah, that's about it. A man on the outside that looks so simple and tame, yet in the inside is the most broken human you will ever meet. He's a good man, but he used to be a conqueror, a warrior, the future Fire Lord. He was hot-headed, wanted nothing but to claim, and this led to the death of the one thing he cared for the most in the world, his son. The story starts off very upbeat. We see Uncle Iroh smiling and taking a walk through Ba Sing Se. He visits a flower shop, sings to a kid to stop him from crying, teaches a young man how to properly mug someone and gives him very honest advice, teaches kids the honor of owning up to your mistakes, and that it's appropriate to run sometimes. And then it all stops. The mood changes as he goes up to a mountain and sings the most heartbreaking song. A song that a couple of minutes ago he literally used to cheer up a kid. He was now singing to honor his dead son as he wishes him happy birthday. All of a sudden, the most Uncle Iroh story just slightly shifted to a different lens, becomes the saddest thing in the entire show. And then I realized the song he teaches to the kid, the guy who he teaches proper form of combat, the kids he plays with, these are all things that he should be doing with his own son. When people ask me why I love Iroh so much, the look in his eyes as he sings the song, the slight squint of his eyes, is that him being happy that the kids stop crying, or is that a man barely holding in his tears? I have never understood why he valued Zuko so much, and why he put up with his attitude with so much care. Well, that was all until this episode rolled around. Mix that in with the fact that this was Mako's last performance as Uncle Iroh, you would then realize how much more this episode and this story specifically means to so many people. R.I.P. Mako.
Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home.